Hey Harvest, we're excited about what's coming up this weekend with our re-entry to in-person worship services here at 7 George Street. I've invited Dwayne and Jordan to come and walk you through the process, what it's going to look like when you arrive here at the property for those services.
Well, hey there, Harvest. We certainly are excited about the opportunity to return to live in-person services right here at 7 George Street. But there are a couple of things that we need to review with you before you make your way to our church building on a Sunday morning. First of all, we need everybody who plans to attend any of our services to register beforehand. And the importance of which is so that we can keep at or below the 30% of our building capacity that we have been prescribed to by the Ontario government. We have our worship center arranged in seating pods of 2, 4, and 6. And so we want you to head to hbc.info/seats and register and select the seating pod that suits you and whoever else is coming with you as best as possible. Once you make it to the registration page, you'll have the opportunity to select a seating pod in a specific section. The sections are listed as blue, yellow, and red. Make sure you remember your section color and number because that'll dictate how you make your way into the worship center. For more on that, send it on over to Pastor Dwayne.
Hey, thanks, Jordan. So when you arrive on Sunday morning, you're going to be greeted by one of our parking lot volunteers, and they're going to help you practice physical distancing even as you put your car into a space. If you get confused, remember this: keep calm and trust the parking team. Now, when it's time to enter the building, you're going to head over to the south lobby doors, where we have all sorts of markings for the clear entrance as well as spots for physical distancing if you need to line up. As you arrive, remember these 3 words: registration, sanitization, and color-coded organization. So when you come through the south lobby doors, you'll be led into a sanitization area. After you've done that, you can come through the next set of doors into our registration area. At that point, all you need to remember is your last name. Our greeters will help you remember your pod and your number, and then you can follow the appropriate line on the floor to the set of doors that will lead you to your seat. When you get to the worship center doors, our ushers will guide you to your seating pod. Once you've sat down, we ask that you remain in that spot until the end of the service. If you have to go to the washroom, we want you to know that our washrooms are open. They're unisex and one person at a time. At the end of the service, our staff and our greeters will lead you to be dismissed 1 row at a time. That's to avoid congestion in the lobby and at the doors. Now, as you leave the worship center, you might hope for an opportunity to connect with your church friends. What we'd ask you to do is plan ahead to meet at a patio or a park where you can practice physical distancing. What we're hoping to do is accomplish a prompt exit after all of our services. So remember, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
All right, Harvest, I think now you have all the information you need in order to come to this property, 7 George Street, on the weekend and to experience in-person worship. Jordan and Dwayne have done an incredible job of laying that all out for us. And as we gather together, I want us to remember Hebrews 10:25, where it says not to forsake the assembling of ourselves together. And whether that's on the live stream where you're staying at home and experiencing worship in that way, as we've been doing for 16 weeks, or you're coming here to 7 George Street for in-person worship, either way, let's not forsake the assembling of ourselves together. Let's be the church. Let's experience worship together and allow God to do a great work in our church in these days. You keep praying for us as we put everything together each week for these times together as the church. So God bless you. You are loved.